it's not just about following your dreams. It's like, yes, follow your dreams, but understand the strategy that goes into it.
I know you've been covering millennials in the news for quite a long time, and I'm just curious, how did you even get started there? What was that process like for you?
Well, nothing ever happens overnight except decisions. And it's been a very interesting process for me. A lot of pivots, a lot of, just chances and skill building. I started out as an actor.
Did
from
you?
0 to 18, that's all I wanted to do. And then when I was 18, I actually jumped into the business and I booked my first audition.
Okay, what was that audition?
It was for a Nickelodeon movie.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I got it. And I was a bass player in Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, which was awesome. But then I actually had a decent career for about 3 years. And I was auditioning for roles that girls that had 10 years on me were, we were going out for the same parts. And I just wasn't booking the roles because I didn't have, that kind of experience.
Had you had any acting training?
Oh yeah, like throughout my
okay.
entire life. Like that's really what I was focused on doing. My parents were in the industry, and seeing child actors kind of cross their path, they always made it a point that I wouldn't start my career until I was 18.
Okay, so you were sort of going through the training, but hadn't
Yeah.
ever had an audition or stepped
Exactly.
your foot in the door until you were 18.
Right.
Okay.
And then I got to a point when I was 21 where it just wasn't fulfilling for me anymore, and I wanted to do something with a greater meaning. And I was surrounding myself with a lot of really amazing artists here in LA, and I started to tell their story on camera as a journalist. So I picked up a microphone and I started interviewing people, and actually my first bout at that was at a Burning Man party, and I interviewed 25 of the top Burning Man artists, and that was my first go at on-camera journalism. So then people in the community started hiring me to make videos for them, and then I started to become a working journalist, and I got picked up by a few different news outlets.
It's all on your own accord.
Yeah, I just did it on myself, like just building everything, individually, no mentors, nothing. Like I just took it upon myself and started teaching myself everything.
So did you literally go buy a microphone? Get your own gear and just decide, I'm going to be a journalist. I'm going to go start interviewing people.
Yeah, I mean, my goal was really to get behind the camera. After I decided that I wasn't going to be an actor anymore, I wanted to work behind the camera. I wanted to learn new skills. And in the process of that, I was also writing. So I had a friend that had a camera, and when this opportunity to do the Burning Man project came up, I grabbed the camera, I grabbed a few film student friends, and had them shoot while I picked up a microphone and just started interviewing people. And it was a natural fit because I was natural on camera, so it was just a natural integration in my life. But then I did Occupy Wall Street, which was amazing, and I was able to really receive some brilliant minds on my video. And the organization that I was working for didn't publish the video because it went against their agenda. So I realized at that moment, you know what, I'm not really interested in politics. One, I don't want to have my message skewed. And then two, I don't really like working for somebody. For them to censor my message was really annoying.
You had gone through all of that work to actually go capture the story, and then it never
saw the light. Right. So then I decided, I'm going to start my own venture. And I ended up, again, from actor to journalist, now I'm in web development, and I built my own social network. And it was an international blog site where all these amazing voices from the world were just talking about solutions in their own life. And it was 2010, 2011, so the economy was really bad just globally. And a lot of people were trying to find outlets on discussing these issues with their peers. So my platform became that voice. And, at the time, as I was building it, we ended up getting 6,000 members and a lot of really active voices. I decided, I'm going to jump into CNBC because an opportunity came up, and I really learned about business journalism, business news. But more importantly, all of the millennials that were doing incredible work through their companies. They were disrupting industries like no other. Airbnb and Snapchat and Twitter and Square and, all these amazing companies were popping up. And I saw that there wasn't an outlet that was really giving them the spotlight. So I turned my blog site, which was this amazing platform with tons of editorial content that focused on solutions, into Millennial Magazine, which had more of a focus on the individuals doing the work. So that's how it happened. But, everything was stepping stones.
Okay, so I'm gonna take us back just a little bit because right there, what you just told me was incredible. It sounds like you've kept yourself very busy and have
God,
done a
yeah.
lot in the past few years. A lot which I think that some young women probably think is out of their grasp, and I think a lot of people can feel maybe a little bit intimidated by that. So I just kind of maybe want to break it down a bit further. So you kind of just started things on your own. Like you got your start as a journalist because you put a microphone in your hand and you started interviewing people.
Yeah.
Did you find the opportunities just started opening up to you because you were willing to put yourself out there?
Absolutely. Like, the phone is not going to ring. You have to make it ring. So you have to pick it up and you have to call people. The internet is an amazing tool. You can go and find anybody that interests you and find their email or find some type of contact for them and reach out. It really takes initiative. You just got to put that match under your own butt and just get out there and do it. And really what the spark was I attended a conference, and the president of Discovery Channel at the time said, if you're not on YouTube, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I was an actor in that moment, and I wasn't on YouTube, and hearing that just really inspired me to, you know what, it's okay, now is the time. Everybody's going that way, because in Hollywood it wasn't respected. And it was
Really?
2009, and if you did YouTube, you were nothing. You were like, low time, like small business, like sucked.
This was 2009.
Yeah, and then it was
Funny
2010 that like all of a sudden web
Yeah.
series became popular.
Yeah.
So it was the perfect time for me to make that transition. And I encourage anybody to just, it's not just about following your dreams. It's like, yes, follow your dreams, but understand the strategy that goes into it.
Yeah.
So, opening up a magazine was not my intention at all. It was all of the opportunities that kind of presented themselves that showcase that, okay, I can take this move. I can go in this direction. I went from actor, okay, now I'm going to transition slowly onto on camera, and then I got to start writing alongside that. Now, how do I get this work seen? And then you've got to put on your marketing hat, and you got to get it out onto other outlets, and you just got to solicit. You got to start emailing all the editors and say, hey, this is who I am, this is my work. If you're interested, let me know.
So your transition really was actor, kind of became a journalist on kind of your own determination. That's what you wanted to do, and then started your own sort of online magazine.
Yeah.
Was that decision to start the online magazine something that you realized you needed to do so that people were seeing your interviews and the work that you were doing, or was there anyone who helped influence that decision and kind of guided you to understand how things really work?
Yeah, nobody guided me as to how things work, but my mom was always a driving factor in, you can do this by yourself. Like, you don't need to work for somebody, you can create your own. Because the people that I was working for, it was limiting. I wasn't able to really utilize my full potential. And the other thing too is that being a journalist in today's world is not a lucrative career path at all. What is lucrative is publishing. So if you can be the owner of your own site, then you can actually make a decent living because you know how to solicit ads, and like you really get to be the driver of your own revenue. So when you're just the one that's the hired help and you're getting paid a paycheck, writers are a dime a dozen right now.
Yeah.
So the value has decreased, unfortunately.
So when you started the magazine, had you had any experience in online publishing and
The only online publishing was that first blog site that I was running, which was a Ning site. Ning, I'm not sure if is even around anymore, because the reason why I decided to leave that platform was because they were going under, or they were transforming. They were like doing some things that just didn't. So it was a social network, but I had kind of made it a magazine, and that was unheard of in Ning communities. I was just creative in I did all these workarounds, on publishing on this platform that wasn't necessarily like a WordPress. And then I just taught myself WordPress because I knew that I needed to have more of a post-oriented platform. So yeah, it was a complete, just my own will, and YouTube videos, watching YouTube videos, tons of them, and just learning how to do it.
It's amazing what you can learn from a YouTube video.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's one of the things that millennials probably embrace more so than any other generation is this idea of self-learning, and the fact that you really can teach yourself anything on your own, whether it's how to do an interview, to how to build a website, to whatever it is.
Yeah. But you know what? There's a lot of trial and error too.
Yes.
Like, I think that's the biggest way that somebody learns is like you try and it may or may not work, so you adjust.
Exactly. But it actually takes trying. You
Yeah,
have to kind of put yourself out there and understand, like,
Yeah.
if you fail, it's, just get up, try again, perfect it, you'll eventually get there.
Exactly, yeah. And also learning from those that have done it. Not from a personal standpoint, but if you just read their stories, they can inspire so much in you.
Is there any sources that you look to continue to sort of figure out how things work, or any books or magazines or interview series that you like to watch that you recommend to others?
I love the business platforms. So I love Forbes, and I love Inc. magazine, and I love Business Insider, and I love Y Combinator, and Techstars, and TechCrunch, and 500 Startups is a great one, and Under 30 CEOs is another great one. So all of the business platforms that are out there for startups are there for a reason. Like, they're providing valuable information. Now, that valuable information is generalized, so you have to tailor it to your own business, and you have to see what works and what doesn't work. Like, social media is something that everybody says that you need, and you're going to fail without it, and part of that is true, but the platforms have become so saturated that it's virtually impossible to get your name out there without infusing money into it. And that's something that they don't really say. They say that organic traffic's so easy. It's not. Today, it's more about influencer marketing. If you can get that person that has the huge fanship to endorse your product, you, from that point, will skyrocket because you've got the support of somebody who already has support.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to actually start, like, a springboard yourself.
Yeah.
From someone nobody knows to somebody everybody knows.
Right, and then that takes work too, because you need to have a product to show them, and then you need to do it in a friendly way so that they feel camaraderie with you,
right,
and then want to give you that endorsement.
Had you always had in your mind that you wanted to start your own business, or was this sort of the output once you sort of realized, like, this is your future, or you could create your own? Was that when the light dawned for you?
Well, I don't know if I ever thought about running my own business, but when I was an actor, I always knew that I was going to be a producer. So I always thought that I was going to be the Helmer of the crew, and that's kind of what I am now as the owner of my own business. So that parallels, but no, I had no idea. But just my natural personality fits that role so well. Like, I'm a natural leader. I've always been bossy. Like, growing up, I've always been the one that's like scheduling things, and even when I was 14, I produced a few videos, and that to me was exciting because I like being in control. I'm a control freak, I'll admit it. But
it's good to recognize it in yourself versus have somebody point it out and you're like, what are you talking about?
See, the problem is that with women, they're looked at as bitchy for being a boss, and for men, like, totally ambitious, go-getters, like, they're the rulers of the world. And that's where the dichotomy, like, needs to end.
Yeah, but I think that the more the women step into power and accept these roles and become their own leaders and their own bosses, that the more that stereotype is going to go away.
Yeah,
because people are going to get used to it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. People aren't used to it right now. When they see someone acting out, or a woman acting out of character, is kind of what it is. Like, it's not the norm. It's not what's expected.
Well, we need to redefine what that character is.
Exactly.
And that's what the whole equality discussion is about. That we are all the same. Like, yes, there are certain characteristics that clearly define man versus woman, but, there's a lot of layover, too.
Right. And because one person exhibits the behavior versus the other, it shouldn't make it any different.
Right.
What is the one story that you hope to be able to tell about your life when you're like 80 years old, and things have, maybe you retired by then, maybe not, but what is it you hope to be able to look back on and know that you did?
That I just lived.
Yeah.
That I lived my life to its fullest potential. I didn't say no to things. I was a yes man throughout my life. I took risks. I was adventurous. I explored opportunities. I didn't say no to things, Like, I think when you say no to life, you say no to yourself, and you limit every possibility for yourself to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. I want to say that I had a damn good time.
I had a damn good time. Love that. Bet you will. Okay. Another question I like to ask everybody is, if you had to have one song play every time you walked in the room for the rest of your life, what would your song be?
LA Woman. LA Woman. That's me.
Yeah, that's you. It's very fitting. I like that. Very, very fitting.
I mean, there's just a good beat to it, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a powerful beat to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could see that fitting you.
Yeah.
Is there any words that you live by? Is there a quote that you have?
Let me think about this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's one that is always at the forefront of my mind, especially with this magazine, because it's what I try and tell people to do as well. And Gandhi tried to tell us this 100 years ago. In 1913, he said, "You must be the change you wish to seek in the world." And that is truly profound wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, if you want anything in life, if you want anything for this world, You have to be the change
Yeah.
yourself.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you got to be nice to people if you want people to be nice to you,
Yeah.
or each other. You know, you gotta help that guy that's like
Yeah.
struggling with his
Yeah.
books to get into the car. You know, like you got to help with everything.
Yeah.
Open up doors for people.
Like, yeah, if you wish the world was a nicer place, start making it a nicer place.
Exactly.
If you want, whatever it is.
It goes across all
Yeah.
lines, and that is the truth to life.
Yeah. All right, last question. So I had a friend who started this dinner party game. Where she asked everyone around the table to go around and fill in the sentence, I'm a badass because. So I'm going to ask you,
love it.
fill in the blank. I'm a badass because.
There are definitely so many answers to that
There's so
question.
many, yeah.
Because, I'd say like I'm a badass because I'm able to coordinate like some of the most ridiculous shoots and actually get away with it. Like
Yeah.
I've done renegade shoots. I've done, like one location falls out and within 24 hours I have to find a new location, and like there's so many different things
Yeah.
that go into being a badass. I ride motorcycles.
Yeah. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Shit, nice.
So that's part of the badass quality.
Yeah.
I like to party. I like to, see the sunrise. I love deep house music, so I'd say that's a badass quality. I don't know.
Oh, it's good. Multi-dimensional.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's, it's nice to be all like fluffy and
Yeah.
like more, abstract as opposed to concrete.
Yeah.
But, being a badass comes in many shapes and sizes.
Yeah, it does. Great.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you again
Thank
so
you
much.
so much, Jen. It was a pleasure being here.